A boss mom doesn't allow society to tell her that her goals no longer matter. She handles her business both inside and outside of the home. Welcome to the Boss Mom Movement Podcast with me, your host, Ashley White, where you'll hear me speak with millennial moms who have not allowed the title mom to stop them from achieving their goals. During this podcast series, we'll discuss how we balance it all and other mom-related topics. It's a space for all my bossy mamas, whether you're an entrepreneur, mama in corporate, or both. Being a boss mom isn't easy, but it's our lifestyle. So with that being said, all right, boss moms, let the movement begin. Hey Boss Moms, welcome back for another episode of the Boss Mom Movement Podcast with your host, Ashley White. You are actually here for episode 10, which is the last episode of the season. And we are here talking about motherhood and tech just mixed with Monique Stafford. I am so excited to talk about this for my working corporate mamas. This one is for you, honey, okay? Because climbing that corporate ladder or just being in a space that maybe you don't see a lot of people that look like you, whether that's gender or ethnicity, can be a little challenging. So I'm super excited to have Monique here to talk about her journey as a woman in technology. So just a brief introduction. Monique is a cybersecurity analyst with an investment banking firm. And if you work in banking or ever worked in banking, you know how private we can be. So we just don't leave the name out. But she is working remotely out of Tampa, and she is a boss mom of one beautiful baby girl. And she is also an entrepreneur. So she has two businesses where she does tech consulting, helping individuals get into tech, and also a website design business. So this mama is busy, as you all can see. But welcome to the Boss Mom Podcast, Monique.
Thank you for having me. I just want to say before we get started that I'm so proud of you and just seeing this whole Boss Mom movement expand, and then including me, I feel honored. So thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for joining and just sharing your experience. So I want to talk about your interest in technology. Like, what even made you interested in going into this space?
So as long as I can remember, I've always, just been, I wouldn't say obsessed, but I've just always been like the tech guru. So like if any of my family needed anything, like computers fixed or just gaming and stuff like that, I was just always super interested. So when I went to school, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a programmer. And then when I went, I was just like, I don't think because when you're a programmer, you really don't engage with people. And I still like to talk. So I was just like, I think IT and cybersecurity is like the way to go. And ever since then, I've never switched majors. I've just always been into tech. Like I've never switched careers or anything, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Oh, wow. So how long have you been working in the tech space?
7 years.
Okay. Yeah, see, I just couldn't do it. Like,
it is tough.
It is like I'm probably like, well, not at my new job, but before in other jobs, I probably was like IT's least favorite person, because I'm going to call, like, I like technology. Like I like computers. I think it definitely makes work more efficient, but to be on the working side of that, like, oh no, when people call in like, oh, I'm having issues with this program or whatever the case may be, like, I just couldn't imagine being that person on the other side trying to help somebody, especially getting like frustrated when things are not going the way that they need to be going.
So that's more of like help desk. So I can say I think they're used to it and they work crazy hours. I've never done like help desk, but I commend them, because even cybersecurity and IT people, we have to call them. So if my computer crashes, sometimes I can't figure it out and I have to bug them at 6 a.m. or 8 p.m. at night. So I think they're used to it. They'll be okay.
Yeah, that's true. So cybersecurity. So tell us what exactly you do.
Okay, so I work with application security and vulnerability management. So that's basically making sure all the applications we use in the company are secure. So, for instance, we use Zoom, Skype for business. I have to make sure all of those applications are secure, make sure they're following the right procedures, or if not, then, they're not compliant with the company.
Okay. So that sounds like when I started working at my bank, when I was trying to like download Microsoft Teams and my email and all of that, like it was so much security measures just to get it on my personal phone where I just
That
was
means
like,
that's a good company.
forget it, girl. Yeah, they definitely keep it locked down. But they were sending little messages like, oh, we need access to your phone in this folder. And I'm like, oh no, because I just don't believe in mixing business and pleasure. But I was like, I don't even know what this means and what exactly y'all getting access to, but it's a no for me. So deny. And I was like, I don't even need it on my phone. Like y'all ain't giving work phones. It's cool. Like, but
usually the most like annoying companies that are like doing all the extra stuff, that's a good company to work for because that means they're taking their cybersecurity, they're making it a priority. Now I've worked for some companies and I'm like, y'all need to get it together.
That's probably how the breaches happen, right?
How the what?
Like the breaches.
Mm-hmm. It's usually so most of like the big breaches is because of users within the company. So that's why I don't know if you guys have like phishing programs for your company where you have to do like you'll get like a fake email and if you click on it you have to do training. That's why they stress that so much. I used to actually be over that whole program. Like I built a program for a company. So I used to design the emails and send them out to the company and have to do the training and everything. But that's important though. I know it's annoying. It is annoying, but that's important because your whole company can get hacked from one little email.
That's true. And I mean, working for a bank is you definitely want to make sure it's secure and people's information is secure. Because if it was mine, I know I would want my stuff secured. Right. So I get it. And it's so crazy because I was just talking to my coworker, like, girl, we got to do all these security trainings. So because she's new, so like, just get ready for it because the trainings is going to come back to back and it's going to seem like it's the same thing over and over. But at least we know that they're protected. So I feel okay.
We need them.
Yeah. So tell me about your experience as a woman in technology. I know this is like a male-dominated field. And so being a Black woman at that, like, how has your experience been?
So I can say in the beginning, like when I first started, I felt like people didn't take me as serious. Like they would kind of like go over me. Like say I was in charge of like a program or something, they would kind of be like, okay, well, I'm not going to respond to this email. Like, who is she? But I feel like as time progressed, there's a lot of women now in these, big roles. Like my director is a woman, my CEO is a woman. Like they're getting, we're taking over now. But I can say like 5 years ago, no, I would be like the only female on the tech team. Yeah. And that's, it's a little intimidating. So you really have to like not take things as personal because that's how it is. It is a male dominated field. So I had to get over that. It was challenging, but now seeing like all these women in these big roles, it's inspiring. And now that's, what I want to, pursue moving down the road.
Absolutely. I think that's one thing, like, just working in corporate in general is like different pockets that are kind of like male dominated, right? Like even where I work at my bank, I'm actually working on a role that the entire team is like all white males. And of course they want to diversify, and I work specifically in diversity recruiting. So I'm looking for people and I'm presenting women because I'm like, okay, gender wise, along with color, like you need to diversify your team. And women, we can bring a lot to the table. I know one thing, when I first got into corporate, my mom was always telling me like, don't be emotional. Like don't wear your emotions on your sleeve. Like even if you come across difficult situations where you feel yourself getting emotional, like you just need to scale back. If you feel like you need to take some time and just walk away for a second and gather.
We're overly emotional.
Exactly. So has there ever been a time like at work where you felt yourself getting emotional or actually displayed your emotion? Like how did that scenario go and how were you responded to if you have?
I've been in, oh my God, so many situations, just like having new bosses and them thinking you don't know anything. And I've actually like got into it, like at a different company with a boss, and I ended up leaving. Like I didn't let him, win, but it was just everybody was leaving the team. He didn't know what he was doing. Because in tech, you'll be surprised the people over you don't really have like a tech background. They'll be come from like project management, finance. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they're not, their goal isn't protect the company. They're just there for the money. They got the job, their friend worked for the company or something like that. No offense to anybody, but that's usually how it is. So
No.
you'll usually do more than your boss. So
Yeah.
it was just hard. And I feel like, he was just, I don't know if he had something against Black women. I don't know, but we just kept butting heads, and he would basically want me to do his work. And if I'm going to do your work, I need to get compensated for it.
Hello.
That's not in my job description. But I can say the whole emotional thing is true. So I do know a few women that were in director roles, and they were just really mean. And I felt like they had to be like that, because if not, these men would walk over them. So they were like living with, like a bee, and just real aggressive. And I feel like you have to like wear that armor to be taken serious. And it's not fair. Like I can't be emotional. I can't be myself, but that's how it is. And it is a challenge, because you have to just be hard.
Right.
And you have to work 10 times as hard as the male who can slack. You have to know all of your stuff.
Exactly. I can't stand that part of it, because like you say, you sitting in these roles where you're either managing a project or managing a team, and you're not being respected, like from your male counterparts. And that's just the frustrating thing that I find, like, even though I'm not in the tech space, but just working in corporate in general, like I am glad to see more women stepping into managerial roles and overseeing different things within their companies. But it's kind of just like, okay, when do we still get the respect that our male counterpart would get? Like, even though I'm in this role, and
Right.
because of diversity initiatives, like I feel like women are definitely being, brought into these roles, not to discount anybody's knowledge or experience, because I'm sure that that women are experienced and knowledgeable in the areas. But I do feel like with diversity being in place and just being looked at, like it is giving us more opportunities, but it's just like, okay, you put me in this role, respect me while I'm in it.
Oh, I can also say they do this thing where they like baby the women. So it's kind of like they're treating you as if you are emotional. Do you get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like they're like, oh, sorry, Monique. Like it's like, I'm a grown woman. You don't have to be like, you don't have to baby me. Like let me lead this. So I get that a lot. Like somebody will take over. Like I'm supposed to do something, they take over. I'm just like.
That's so crazy. Like, that's annoying. I'm annoyed for you, and it's not even happening to me. Like, it was just like, you don't need to apologize. If I didn't tell you something is wrong, like, granted, okay, we can display our emotions, body language and all of that. Yeah. But it's just like, okay, back up. Because would you do that to your male counterpart, right? Like, would you say that? Like, no, it's like, okay, I'm not saying treat me like one of the guys, but in a sense, like, treat me like one of the guys.
Exactly.
So what is like your trajectory? Like, do you feel like you want to continue to climb up the ladder? I don't know how it looks for a cybersecurity analyst in terms of like promotion or like how far you can go, but like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
So I definitely see myself moving up to like a senior lead. I definitely want, like within this year, I definitely want to progress into like a senior lead position, and then move up to a director. I don't know about manager. When you're a manager, you're kind of not doing anything. You're just dealing with all these personalities and managing it. But definitely a director, and then there's a position called a CISO. So that's the cyber information security officer. So they're over like the whole tech department. So that's definitely where I see myself. I would definitely need more certifications and more, experience, but that's where I want to go.
But you're doing a good job, because I see you, and posting like, you're taking these certifications. So you're definitely, I feel like, on your way, and it seemed like you know what you're doing and how to handle yourself accordingly. So I definitely think it can happen, and I am looking forward to watching you stump your way up to the top.
I definitely want to, I don't know, with the business, I definitely want to help people too, because there's a lot of people that reach out to me literally weekly, like, okay, how can I get into tech? Or I just graduated, like, what's the next move? So that's like the main reason for like the tech consulting, is because people will see you like in tech, but they don't know what to do. And if you do your own research, usually it's wrong, or that you'll be doing all these steps when you can just, do a certification, like shorter amount of school, and then you can get into it. Because some people think like, oh, do I need a bachelor's? Do I need a master's? Do I need certifications? That's the route I went. But there's people on my team that are seniors with no credentials, not even an AA, nothing. So it's definitely possible.
Like,
no credentials. So it's possible. That's what I try to tell people. Like, it's definitely like, you can just dive into it if you know what you're talking about. You have to, have some knowledge, but you can't just go in. You have to have like a little bit of experience and prove that you know what you're doing. But it's definitely possible to get into tech without a degree.
Oh wow, that's interesting, especially because that seems like such a defined area. You would think that you need to have some sort of credentials. But to be honest, though, like just working in like the recruiting space, I've noticed like a lot of times on job descriptions it says bachelor's preferred, which does not mean you
not
need
required.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, experience wise, right? Because I feel like having degrees is kind of like the new generational thing to do. Like, not to say like our parents and stuff don't have degrees and stuff like that, but it is a lot of people that have been in their industries for like 20 years and maybe only have a bachelor's, or just like what you said, don't have anything at all. Of course, depending on the area or, industry that you're in, but experience. And that's, right. I think that's like why I'm not against school, because definitely, no one can take your knowledge away from you. But right. I'm just like, I have worked in spaces where they require you to have a master's, but they're not paying you to have a master's. Like, the money needs to add up. It needs to equate to the education that I have. And I've just seen that so much that it just makes me, it's just like, because honestly, I don't like school. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it is people that like school.
I don't like school either.
But it's people that do like school. But I'm just like, I would rather get certifications. Like, of course, I never want to stop learning because I love to learn new things. But it's just like, okay, putting myself in debt to get this degree that you're probably not going to look at or pay me to have. Like, that's just...
Yeah.
And I have a master's, but I was just like, okay. And I went straight through, like, after school. I was like, because if I take a break, it's over with.
I did take a break. I took like a semester off. And I took 3 months off, and then I dived in. But I can say with tech, certifications matter. So you can get far with the certification and have no degrees, but some of like the really intense certifications, you have to have experience to back it up, and you have to get like, I think you have to get sponsored. So if you haven't worked in a job or someone can't vouch for you, you can't get it. You can pass it, but you won't get it, the actual certification. A lot of people don't know that. So they'll say like, oh, well, I could just get my CISSP, which is like a really extensive cybersecurity certification. And I'm like, okay, go get it. But it's not going to be acknowledged because you don't have any experience, like you didn't work anywhere. So they can't prove that you know what you're doing. But there are a lot of people who are like, who didn't go to school and who always like, dabbled into tech. They know how to program, and they can get far with no degree or anything, certification, and make 6 figures, like first job ever. So it's possible.
I think I took up the wrong industry.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, even if you just like get a minor certification, do like a certificate at a community college, you can get far.
Oh my God.
And people don't believe me, and I'm like it's definitely possible.
Girl, sign me.
If you want to make money. So if you're money driven, I was money driven. So I think that's another reason that influenced like the tech world, because to me, that's the fastest way to make the most money right out of college. Like when I was, right when I graduated, I landed my job, and that's what sent me to Jacksonville. And I was making more money than everybody else surrounded by. And that was my first job. So I'm like, if y'all want to make this money, come on.
No, for real. And like, this is my thing. Like when I have the conversations about like money, making money at work and stuff like that, like I went into higher education after college. It's no money education. Like, I mean, that's a fact. And it's very sad because you're telling people, go to school. You have people dedicating their lives to teach your students and deal with behavioral issues and all of that. And granted, I was on the college level. It's a little bit different, but still, it's like education is supposed to be like number one. This is what we press, but you don't even pay the people that work in the field.
It's like not that. Fair. And I've seen a lot of people in higher education and they're just stressed out. And I'm like, you're getting stressed out and you're not getting paid for that stress. That's not fair.
Me. And once I realized my self-worth, I was just like, deuces. Gotta go. Like, because like I literally came over to corporate and I was just like, the first 4.5, 5 years of my postgraduate life, what have I been missing? Like, you know, I'm like, man, I could probably be so much further in life. But at the end of the day, everybody's path is their path. And there was a reason why I didn't go into it. And that's just what it is. But you know, I still have friends in that field. And so just looking, like telling them, I'm like, look, I can't tell you what to do with your life, but there are things that we were doing in higher education that you can bring over into the corporate world. Like going into campus recruiting or recruiting, like it's just mind boggling. I'm like, I am money hungry for the simple fact that I like to live a certain lifestyle. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to do anything for money or be in any profession, but I was able to find something that I enjoyed, that I have a passion for, and that's working in the diversity space and making sure that people that look like me can get good jobs and, you know, try to help them along the way of growing professionally. Like I have a passion for that. So I was able to find that in the corporate space and make way more money than I ever did in education. And probably if I were still there, still wouldn't be making that amount. Like,
and better benefits.
That part too. The only thing I miss is having holidays off because the school is closed. Like that's probably the only thing I actually miss about it, other than my coworkers from my first job. Like they were the best coworkers I ever had. But the business, like, but technology definitely makes a lot of money. So I'm glad that you do have your business. I did want to talk about that. So how does your consulting business work?
So I don't have the website live, but I'm working on it, and I do website design. So I've been working on a lot of projects. So it's crazy how I'm working on other people's business, but not mine, but I'm getting there. But they will basically be able to like book consultations with me to talk about like advancing in tech if they're already in tech, or, you know, starting a career in tech. And it'll just be like a talk, and I'll give them like a guide of like what certifications to take, what positions are available, like, or if they're like, for instance, say you took courses in college, I'll say, see how those can like transfer over, like what you learned and just stuff like that.
That's amazing. So is this dedicated to women, or is this both men and women that you'll be helping?
It's men and women, everyone.
Okay. I love it. And I think that that's definitely something good, because even some of the things that you just said on here about not needing certain degrees, like I just assume you definitely needed your bachelor's to get in the tech space, like to make it up the ranks, I would say, because I know it's probably almost yeah, it's good, but it's like sometimes it is a slap in the face, because I have my bachelor's, my master's, and certifications, and then there's somebody like in a senior lead position and they have no credentials, and I'm like, but do they have the experience?
So yeah, they are a little bit older, or they've been with the company longer. So like, say they're with the company and they're like, I want to get into tech. They can literally, weasel their way into tech like that. So yeah, or they'll just make sure they're on certain projects, get their name put out there, and they'll move over like that. But usually they have something in common. They're white.
I was gonna say, I was like, okay, we see it happen all the time. Like, and that's why I'm so happy that you're doing your consulting business, because the way other people outside of the Black community like help each other get up the ranks or like get jobs, I'm like, we have got to do more of that. Like, because it really boils down to, in most jobs, no matter what industry, who you know. Like, who do you know? Exactly. I'm always stressing like networking. And I'm not the best networking person, or networker, I should say. I'm not the best, but I have learned over the years that it is good to put yourself out there and not to be shy, and just put yourself out there in the room. Well, going to networking events, number one, because how can you even talk to people if you don't get out there? Like, it was a point in time where I was like writing people like crazy on LinkedIn, like just introducing myself, putting my resume out there. Like, I don't even know if you the right person I need to be talking to. But I'm going to connect with you. And
I'm Ashley. Here you go.
If it's not you, send it to your coworker. Like, because that's what people are doing, and they're meeting people, like, and building these relationships. And then when that person has a job, then they're calling those people, you know what I'm saying, that was putting themselves out there and really believing in the work that you can do and the knowledge that you have. So I'm so excited for your consulting business, and I really hope to see it grow for you and for the people that you're going to be helping. And, you know, hopefully they take heed to what you're telling them, because you can tell somebody something all day long, but they got to do it. Exactly. So I know you're working remotely, and just like you recently had your baby girl. How has that been, a mom in the tech space working from home?
So at first I was definitely nervous. I was just like, how am I going to do this? Because I didn't want to do daycare, especially with the pandemic. And I was just like, just having a stranger watch your child. I was going crazy. But luckily my mom is retired, so she helps out tremendously. But majority of the time she is with me while I'm working. So a lot of people were like, okay, you need a schedule, you need to do this, she needs to do this. And I found it best to let her kind of create her own schedule, and then I'll make my work schedule around what she does. So if I feel like she's getting tired around 11 a.m., okay, 11 a.m., that's your nap time. So I'm going to make sure, like, if I have busy stuff to do or assigned meetings, it's going to be around 11, because that's when she'll be asleep and not as talkative. It was much easier when she was younger, which people usually say the opposite. But when she was younger, I feel like it was a piece of cake, because, they just sleep and eat and poop, and it was good. But now that she's more mobile, it's like I have to entertain her, and I have to work, and I have to clean, because I'm a neat freak. So it's a lot. It is tiring, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I like her being, close to me. I like that I don't have to put her in daycare just yet. I can maybe wait a year or a couple months before I do that. She's going to be 1 next month. So, but I do like having her here. She is very talkative. When I do have meetings, sometimes usually it's the one-on-ones with my boss where she wants to scream and hear herself talk. But they know I have a baby. They'll be okay. We work from home, so they'll get used to it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you mean about talking, because he's 7 months and he is doing the same thing. Of course, they love to hear themselves scream and talk.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, you weren't saying anything when no one was on the other side of this phone. I'm like telling people that I'm recruiting, I'm like, okay, we're working from home, so excuse my little work buddy, my work friend, he's clocking in, like, and they'll laugh or whatever, but I can definitely relate to that and the whole no daycare thing right now, especially with COVID for me anyways. I'm just like, I don't need you going to daycare and bringing nothing home, because kids are the sickliest. So no, I could definitely relate. And you know what? That's funny that you say you thought it was easier when they were younger, or when she was younger, because I'm sitting here like, I don't think it was. I'm over here hoping, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for you to get older and just be able to entertain yourself. But
I guess they could, yeah.
Yeah, like maybe because let me see, like when I went back to work, it was probably, he was 12 weeks or a little over. And it was a little bit better, I guess. And then I don't know, but time goes by so fast. Like I feel like
too fast.
6 months, and then like it just all hell broke loose, right? Because now he want to get into stuff.
I guess because when they're younger, they sleep more. So I feel like it was a little easier because I'm like, okay, she's gonna be asleep for however long. But now it's like she takes 1 or 2 naps, so she's up trying to walk, crawling, getting into stuff. When they're like babies, they're not grabbing the laptop. They're not trying to grab the cord. So that's the only thing. But other than that, it's, she has her kind of like routine that she kind of created. I know a lot of people are against it. They're like, you need to put that baby on a schedule, but it worked out. I let her kind of decide, okay, like she's going to eat around this time. Cool. Then this is the schedule we're going to do. So it worked out. It's not as bad as people, they'll be like, how do you do it? And I'm like, it is hard. I'm not going to lie, but it's definitely manageable. Like you can do it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I feel like, you have your hard days, but everybody's working from home right now. So I think that makes it a lot easier. And not to say like gives a good excuse for moms, but really it gives a good excuse for any parent. I was on a meeting today and the dad had the baby and he was leading the call. And this is a huge company call. So it's like 70 people on there. And he had a little baby. I mean, she was in his lap. So she wasn't that old and she was talking and then she ended up falling asleep. But I feel like, with us working from home, that definitely gives moms kind of like that cushion to like, because I feel like generally you will kind of be like embarrassed in a sense, like, okay, feeling like you always got to say, I'm sorry, which I do still because like if someone's talking and then he just shouting whatever, I'm like, oh, excuse me. But like, that's just something that I would do even if I interrupted. Right. So, but I feel like, do you ever have those moments like, or maybe when you first
in the beginning, after, also shout out to my company because I had a long maternity leave. So that was a blessing. It was 4 months. So I'm appreciative of that. Yeah. But after maternity leave, I was definitely like embarrassed. Like I would always press mute and I'd be like, sorry. But then after a while, I was like, you know what? My whole team knows I had a baby. They will be okay. If they hear her, crying or whatever, at least I'm doing my job. But I do feel like definitely like we would have been, like if we weren't all remote, it would definitely be like embarrassing. Like if I was working from home that day and my baby's screaming. But I just feel like I like that everybody's remote because I feel like it gives us like, it makes us like people, if that makes sense. Like I'm human, like I'm at home. We're probably all in our pajamas still. Like we should probably be dressed, but we're not. And we're getting our work done. I feel like people are even more productive. And I feel like this is like pushing people harder, like working remote in a way because, our kids would probably be in daycare if we weren't be able to work from remote and we wouldn't have that time to spend with our kids. But I want my child 24/7 and I wouldn't, if I was in the office, it wouldn't be like that. So exactly. It's a blessing.
I definitely agree with you on that. Like, I feel like being able, especially as first time moms, like being able to be at home with our children while we're working, it definitely gives us that time to grow as moms. Motherhood, you're juggling multiple things, like keeping your household together and your kid and yourself, right? And then on top of that, I'm juggling work at the same time because essentially if the child was in daycare or with the babysitter, like you would have that time away. So I just, honestly, I feel like it makes us stronger and it's definitely given us the opportunity to not apologize for being a mom. Like, also showing you like I can handle this and I can handle this job. And that's why I'm so happy to have you on today, because not only are you working in corporate, you're working in the tech space, which is not easy. That's definitely, I feel like a gifted area, like, and that's just me.
Thank you.
I guess that's me being a recruiter, but just outside of that, like, it's definitely an area where, hey, it's some hard working, smart people in the tech space. So it's like you're doing all of this and it's just, I honestly feel like it's just helping you grow as a person as well. But it gives us that opportunity to grow as moms. And it's just like, sometimes I look at myself and I can't even believe. I'm like, how in the...
Right. I'm like, how am I doing this? How am I functioning?
Like, I can say
sometimes I get mad when people say like, well, you work from home, like they make it seem like it's so easy. And I'm like, though we all make it look easy, this is like 3 jobs because at this point I'm working my regular job, I'm a mom, and I have to take care of that. So I'm a nanny, I'm a maid, I'm a mom, and then I'm working my like I'm doing all of this in a day.
On top of your own
hours.
Right.
Right. So it's a lot. And I'm not gonna, though I probably make it seem easy. Like I have my days, mental breakdowns and stuff. I'm just like, oh, this is too much. I'm overwhelmed. But as moms, we don't really have time to cry sometimes. Like you gotta keep it pushing.
That was me today. Like, I don't know what Riley dreamed about, and he woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, but he wasn't having it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, are you seriously crying for like an hour? Like, really? That's what we're doing today? But like you said, it's like, okay, we have our moments, we acknowledge our feelings, and then we keep it pushing. Like, I said, you know what? I didn't log off work until 7. And I'm like, we got to record tonight in 2 hours. I haven't eaten. Like, I haven't even had a moment to turn work off because for me, it takes me a minute to kind of like decompress after work and just, take my mind away from everything that I was just doing for 8 hours.
But you feel like at night is like your time? Because that's what I feel like. I feel like after she goes to bed, like this is when I'm like, I'm Monique again. Like I'm like, okay, this is when I'm gonna take my long bath. This is when I'm just gonna watch all these shows. Like, and I'll be up to like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. just enjoying myself.
No, I am 100% like you. Like seriously, I'm like people probably getting like emails from me from Boss Mom like at 1 a.m. and I'm like, and I tell people like that's my time to like just concentrate.
That's your actual time.
Exactly. Concentrating on whatever it is, or I'll just find myself like scrolling the web, girl, probably on Amazon, adding something to my cart that I don't need, like taking an hour-long shower. Like, yes, no, it's definitely my time. Like, and see, I'm still trying to get into the point where he's gonna get in his crib. Haven't reached that point yet. So like, I know a lot of times, moms, you put your baby down, they in their own room. So now you really can go make whatever noise you're going to make right in the next room. I still haven't reached that point, and I'm working on it because I'm like, okay, just bought the camera.
I have some tips. We can talk about it later.
I'm going to need them because it's about time. Like I got the camera finally. Because
it takes about a good week and he'll be set.
I hope so.
You're attached.
I'm attached. He's attached. Like, and I don't know if it's because like they're in the middle of the night, like I don't do bottles. And that's partially my fault because I don't like to get up like if I'm sleeping, I really don't like to get up. So it's easy for me to just boop, he thirsty. Pop the little titty out and keep it moving. But I know that I'm going to have to like that because he expects it. Like when he stays with my parents, my mom would tell me like, girl, he woke up at 4 a.m. looking for titty. Like, and I'm just like, she's like, girl, you're going to have to break him of that. And I'm like, I know, but it's just so easy for me. But like, he'll take a bottle if you give it to him. I just don't. So yeah, so it's partly me and it's partly him. We just gotta break each other off.
But when you're ready, don't let anyone else, influence your timing. So just whenever you get ready and you're comfortable, because people, I feel like being a first-time mom, people always like are so negative with the whole timing thing and milestones and all of that. But you just have to figure out what's best for you and your child, and you can't. All that goes out the window.
Yeah.
They'll be like, by 6 months, they need to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, she'll be okay.
Right. That's how I am. Like, honestly, I'm just like, it's just getting to the point now where I'm like, okay, I think I want the bed back, at least my half of it. And it's like in the middle of both of us. So we both are like limited on space. But, even with that, I mean, they're like, oh, don't let the baby sleep with you. I'm like, look, what work in my house is working just fine. Like, I'm even from the doctor, like I get it, of course the safety and SIDS and all of that. Like, we definitely want him to be safe. But, I mean, it's really like, I may not even sleep because I'm sitting here watching him, making sure he's breathing. You know what I'm saying? But like, he's older now, so it's a little better. Like, girl, when I say he take over the bed, I'm just like,
that's his bed now.
Seriously, this his big old king size bed, and he don't want to hear nothing about it. Like, but no, I appreciate your perspective though. Just, working from home and like just really letting moms know like it's okay to be a work from home mom and still take care of your work duties that you need to, but then also taking care of your motherly duties at the same time. And I definitely think our generation especially has been a good example of being able to balance both.
I definitely agree.
So, well, I appreciate you coming on. Is there any advice that you can give to not only a working mom, but that mom that is in the tech space that is just wanting to advance her career and really just take off in that space? Do you have any parting words for them?
Oh, I have a lot of advice. Just in general, like just corporate in general, one thing I learned is just don't take things personal. That's like the best thing that I probably say that to myself on a daily, like just don't take what people say personal, because a lot of stuff, emails, you're not really talking to the person. I just try not to take things personal. Everybody has bad days. So, I have my bad days. So that's one thing. Also, just try it. Like if you're interested in tech or whatever career it is, just try it. And if you fail, you fail. If you succeed, you succeed. Just as far as motherhood, I really stress self-care. Whatever it is, if you have a babysitter that day, do things for you, and not things like cleaning the house. That's not self-care. I mean, I like cleaning, but that's not self-care. I'm talking about get a massage, whatever it is, you're getting your hair done, nails, whatever it is, just make sure you don't lose yourself and just really take care of your body. It's very easy to lose yourself, especially being like a first-time mom. Like we only really stress our kids, but our kids can't, be their best selves if we're not our best selves. So that's all the advice I have.
Listen, you are giving me the reminders, self-care, and
take time for yourself.
The time, like you said, I can't wait for my next vacation, honey. But I want to thank you all for tuning in for the last episode of season 3. So I'm super excited to wrap this season up. This was the first time that we were live on YouTube. Got some really great feedback. So I hope to bring you all another great season after this, and just keep tuning in with me. It's going to be a lot of great things to come from Boss Moms. I appreciate all the support that you all have given, and this is episode 10, Motherhood and Tech Just Mix. So ladies, if you are in corporate, keep going. If you're in tech, keep going. Like there is a space for you, and you don't need to feel otherwise. Like we are here, we're working moms, and we are doing a damn thing. So as I always say, stay bossy and stay motivated. Until next season, ladies. And we are signing off with Miss Monique Stafford.
Hey ladies, if you enjoyed today's episode, do me a favor and leave a 5-star rating and review. You can find the Boss Mom Movement streaming on Apple and Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube. Want to keep up with the movement? Visit my website at thebossmommovement.com and subscribe. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you next time.